welcome back to Last Week in Esports. I'm your host, Trainer Jared TV, and I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. But we have tons to talk about this week. We had the CS Blast Premier Fall Major. We have more Rocket League drama, or at least more details on the Rocket League drama. We've got a huge offseason already starting for League of Legends, on top of plenty more to discuss and talk about. So without further ado, let's dive right into it.
Baker, what was that?
Cloud9 are your E-League Major champions!
This is Rocket League!
In CS2 news, we actually had the fall final for Blast Premier, which is big because this means now that the spring and fall are done, we can finally jump into the World Final. But first, let's talk about how the weekend went. I think everyone expected Team Vitality to win, and they did, only dropping one map to Cloud9. Pretty dominant weekend from them, honestly, besides the Cloud9 series. Cloud9 actually looked better than they've looked in quite a while. But Team Vitality takes first place. They end up beating FaZe Clan 2-0 in the finals. So we have Vitality finishing first, FaZe second, and then Complexity Gaming and Cloud9 going out 3-4. But all this is good news because now we can start to concentrate on the World Final for Blast Premier, which should be happening in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, which there we'll get to see the best teams in the world compete for the $1 million prize pool. I think going into it, everyone's probably expecting Team Vitality to win. I think I am. Of course, I'll be pulling for Cloud9, but I think this is Team Vitality's to lose. And if they can win it, they're capping off one of the most amazing years in esports we've probably ever seen from an organization. So last week we touched on the Gamers First, or G1, drama that has been plaguing the WCB scene. Well, there's a little bit more to it. As reported on by a member of G1, it looks like G1's going to owe their Rocket League team, like their main RLCS roster, over $150,000. You heard me right, $150,000 to that original RLCS roster that G1 fielded, which is probably deserving of legal action, but we'll see what happens. But with that $150,000 figure, more people have started coming out after working with G1 and basically saying, hey, you owe us a ton of money. Now, I will say that WCB did get paid out. Like, for example, ourselves, Bronze Baddies, got paid out. You know, finally, we got the PayPal wire. Interesting, they use PayPal, but either way, it's looking to be closer to like $200,000. Staff and contractors have, spoken out talking about how much they're owed. And then to top it all off and say, happy Thanksgiving, a rogue social media manager just started blocking everybody on Twitter. Yes, you heard that right. G1 had a social media manager just start blocking everybody. You said anything bad about them? Yeah, you're blocked. Now, the blocks have been undone, and that person supposedly no longer works for G1. But I think if people are thinking of things to be thankful for, it's probably being thankful for that you don't work for G1. $200,000 is no joke. It's egregious, and hopefully we see some action taken in some manner by G1. They have not addressed this situation at all. They probably are trying to recover from this PR nightmare and or scrape together the funds to pay these people. But no matter what, this has done irreparable damage to their reputation. And I don't think G1's going to be existing probably too much longer. Okay, bear with me here, guys. There is a lot to cover for the League of Legends offseason so far. I know it just started, but there's tons to catch you up on. So I'm going to try to hit the high points and let you get on your way. First, Golden Guardians and EG are leaving the LCS. Yes, you heard that right. They are leaving. There was a meeting with Riot Games. They gave an offer out to anyone on the table if they're looking to leave, and EG and GG took that offer. The LCS is now going to be an 8-team league. Now, it makes sense for EG to leave. I think they're looking to exit esports as a whole. Obviously, the Valorant stuff has gone awfully. League of Legends has honestly gone poorly too. They can't keep their head out of drama. It's a mess. 2023 has not been their year, even though they did win the Valorant World Championship. But Golden Guardians really caught me off guard. Whatever, understandable. That has put, though, a lot of their players from EG and GG in a really bad spot. Because Riot, seemingly thinks that the offseason begins when Worlds is over. It begins before that. There's LCS teams that didn't make Worlds, and or the teams that get out of Worlds are going to make roster moves. And it leads me to the next part. Cloud9's made some big moves. Cloud9 got rid of their mid laner and their support. They have now signed JoJo and Vulcan, respectively. And now it's fine and dandy. Except for the mid laner they got rid of, Eminez, he decided to go on a tirade. He said he's quitting League of Legends. He's going to go fulfill his military duty. Went on a huge tirade on social media and then Ask Me Anything and just tweeting and posting. And it seems like he just isn't probably made for pro play. You can go find it somewhere online. He flames most of NA, a lot of the players. He doesn't really take responsibility for his drinking problem and more, but we'll leave that there. Piosik, he came here from winning a world championship, came to North America to play and do well. They didn't, or probably not to the standards that they were expected to. And so Piosik, along with his longtime AD carry, Deft, are going to play for KT Rolster this year. Huge news for KT. I'm sure they're incredibly happy with those signings. So shout out to them. Congrats. In other news, the world famous AD carrier from Fnatic, Reckles, is now going to go play for T1's Challenger League team. Now, for those who don't understand, in the LCK, they have 3 leagues. They have the LCK, they have a Challengers League, and then they have an Academy League. He's not playing for Academy, which it would be called in most other leagues. He's playing for the Challengers League, so they're second tier. But he's going to play as a support. I mean, congrats. That's a huge honor, honestly, going to a better region. He's still got a spot on, a great org. Excited for him. We'll see how it goes. I think there will be a lot of eyes on the LCK Challengers League this year. So we keep an eye out for that. And last but not least, one I actually really want to touch on is the NACL is moving to a fearless draft, and they're also going to be playing best of 3s, which makes sense with a fearless draft. But let me tell you what that is. A fearless draft means that any champion you pick in your games is not pickable in other games. So moving into a best of 3, you draft for your 5 champions. Those are not playable in the next 2 games, should it go all 3. I think it's a phenomenal idea. We don't see champion diversity. My big thing when you compare League and Dota, their world championships, I think Dota had maybe 8 champs not get played. And then League, half the roster doesn't get played. More than half the roster doesn't get played. So I think it'll be exciting to see this fearless draft implemented in the NACL. Probably trying to help their viewership out, doing something new. They're taking notes from, I think, a Chinese league tried this already. So excited. I think it's going to be fun should NACL be able to fill, some teams to play. Because if you remember from earlier this year, a lot of teams aren't fielding NACL teams. In Smash news this week, there's some interesting drama going on. The CEO of the Sentinels org decided to tweet about how their conversation went with signing a certain Smash player, and it didn't go well. I wonder why. So Cody Schwab, or IBDW, who is one of the current best players in the world and is, I think, the current best Fox player in the world, was in conversations with the Sentinels to join their org. The CEO of Sentinel, Rob Moore, then put out a tweet saying that they really couldn't reach an agreement. He wishes IBDW the best, but things just didn't work out in their conversations and negotiations. Which one is an awful look and awful idea. I don't understand why Rob Moore did that. And then he puts IBDW in a tough spot because IBDW obviously will not have to respond to this because Rob Moore's kind of painted him out to be a little greedy. So IBDW responds. He goes in to say that he wants to keep the relationship cordial, but the deal wasn't beneficial to either side. And he wants to explain, why. He says that they weren't really able to pay him what he believes he deserves. He was going to be left as one of the lowest compensated players in the entire top 10, and he wasn't even guaranteed travel. Then there's more to this, and I'll try to pop it up on the screen, but I'm on IBDW's side. Sentinels is throwing money away, it seems, anyway. They spend probably too much money on most of their people. I think, probably trying to start lowering those salary expectations that are beginning to happen in conversation with esports orgs as we're heading kind of towards, or already in an esports winter. But not guaranteeing travel to events. Listen, I'm sorry. I think that's one of the worst ones I've seen in a while. considering Smash players travel exclusively to their events, and most esports people are covered in their travel. Either way, Rob Moore, terrible look. Sentinels, terrible look. Hopefully, IBDW finds a org or someone who wants to have him. He is currently probably the best unsigned player in the world. So, any orgs looking, there's your choice. And now for an esport we've never talked about, we had a World of Warcraft World First. Now, I'm not going to act like I am super into WoW. I've played it before, but I did enjoy watching this. It was kind of insane to see. So what happens is a new raid is released, and the best teams in the world race to get a world first completion on Mythic difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty. This time we had Echo Guild getting the world first after more than 300 attempts, and it took almost 2 weeks. Insane to watch. There were multiple runs between them and Team Liquid that ended with the boss health at around 1% of its total health. It is insane to watch. They have scheduled breaks. They have to sleep, obviously, and it takes a long time. So it was a phenomenal watch, really, to see these teams end up winning and beating the boss. But congratulations to Echo Guild. They did end up getting that world first. I believe Team Liquid got second a little bit later on. They were both duking it out for days, but Echo Guild did get the world first record, so congratulations to them. And that'll do it for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. It means a ton. Hope you liked it. As always, if there's any feedback I need, please put it in the comments. I can always do better. But as always, I will see you next week. GG's.